Hi, so welcome to part 2 of the Novels and Needles podcast this week. And if you watched the first part, that's where I talked about the books that I have read and all of that. As you know, it's been a little while since I have podcast, and so I had quite a few things that I want to talk about, and so I thought I would break it up into 2 parts, and so it makes it easier to upload. It doesn't take as long, and then it also, just for you guys, so you don't have to try to like dredge through like the super long episode. So you got 2 parts. This part, in part 2, is where I'm going to be talking about all the nitty yarny goodness that I have going on. And I have quite a few finished objects, one of which I am wearing. And I'm so excited about it. So maybe I'll just do the elephant in the room right now and show off my sweater that I knit for myself. I'm going to kind of try to get up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better, but I think I'll put in a picture when I'm kind of talking about the details of the sweater so that you can see it kind of more. This is not the greatest framing to see a sweater. So this is the On the Grass sweater by Hoki Locatelli, and I finished it about the middle of February, and I love it. I will say one thing I would do is it's a little short in the back, and so I think I would adjust that if I were to knit the pattern again. So I don't want to talk a whole lot about the pattern because it is a paid for pattern, but you can just see it's got this ribbing across the top and then like a textured stitch throughout the body, and then the sleeves are all ribbing. And you guys, I am so proud of myself for knitting this sweater. I can't even begin to tell you how proud of myself I am. And the fact that it fits perfectly is even better. The sleeves got a little bit long when I blocked it, but I just kind of tug them up just a little tiny bit and then they're okay. I would say I wish I had knit it a little bit longer, but I was getting really excited to be done with my sweater, and so I just kind of started the ribbing and was like, I want to finish the body. And so it could be just a smidge longer, but I am so happy with it, especially for it being a first time knit. I am just over the moon with how it turned out, you guys. I don't even know what to say. So as I mentioned, the pattern is On the Grass by Hoki Locatelli. It is a paid for pattern on Ravelry, but I think Hoki's patterns are really, really well written. And she just does a nice job with kind of breaking everything down for it. It is knit top down in the round, so it was really a great first knit, and I was able to try it on as I went and make sure that that it fit and everything. The yarn that I used was Malabrigo Rios, and the colorway is Winter Lake, which if you've been watching the podcast you may recognize because I knit 2 hats out of this yarn and I love the color. I love it, you guys. And so I knit these on my Knit Picks interchangeable set, and I used a size 8, a US size 8, which is a 5mm for the body. And I am a tight knitter, so I always have to go up a needle size usually, and because this is a sweater and I'd never done it before, I did take gauge, and I kind of figured I'd have to go up a needle size, and I did. And the like ribbing on the edge is a US size 6, and I don't remember what the millimeters of that is. Is it 4.5 maybe? Or 4? Not sure. Anyway, a US size 6 for that. And again, these are a size up from what the pattern, no, a size 7, I'm sorry, it calls for a 6. It's a size 7. These are one size up from what the pattern calls for. So just really, really pleased with how it turned out. In thinking about going forward and making other garments, I think that I would like to adapt patterns, pardon me, so that in the back do like some short rows so it kind of scoops down lower in the back. I like it when my shirts are longer in the back because I don't like having that situation where like you bend over and you can like see skin or underwear. I hate that. So I like my shirts to be longer in the back. And it's okay with this because I'm it's a sweater, so I'm going to be wearing a shirt underneath it, and so I just either wear a longer shirt or I tuck it in, and it's totally fine, and I love it. It's super warm, and have I said that I love this sweater? I'm so proud of myself. So that's my first finished object, and it's really exciting, and I'm so happy with it. My next finished object is one that you will recognize if you've been watching the podcast. As you know, I cast this on as part of my New Year, New Start Cal, which was 7 new projects in 7 days. And so that would be my exploration station. It is done. Da, 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 da. So this was my first Stephen West pattern. I am so happy with how this turned out, you guys. Although, I will admit, the pink in it is not me. So I'm kind of debating. My daughter loves this. She, I got it all blocked out and ready to go, and she, stole it the next day and wore it to school. So I'm actually kind of thinking about giving it to her because she likes it so much. It is huge. And I do like a big shawl because I like having the option, of wrapping yourself up in it and being warm, or, doing this kind of thing with it. I like having options with it. And so because it was so big, I did not block this very aggressively. That's why my points on the bottom aren't super pointy, because I didn't want it to be, I liked the size that it was, and I didn't want it to be completely monstrous. So I just lightly blocked it, and like I said, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think I will knit this again, and I really like the idea of dyeing my own yarn for it and kind of going with colors that are mine particularly, and I think it turned out great. It was really fun having all of the different sections and getting to do different stitches in it. I will say, because when you get done, there's a lot of stitches on your needle, and it did get kind of tiring at the end, and I was kind of like, okay, I love this knit, but I'm really ready for it to be over because one row takes me 20 minutes to do. Because there's so many stitches, it just takes forever. So I'm, like I said, super happy with this. I knit these again on my Knit Picks interchangeable needles, size 8 as well, so a 5mm needle. I use Knit Picks Hawthorne was the yarn that I used, and the colorways, the black is called Blackbird, and then this speckled one is Cosmic Speckle. The pink, and you're gonna see this stupid pink a lot, is called Park Rose. And then this one with the pops of turquoise in it, I'll show a bigger section, that's called Vancouver. And so Hawthorne is a wool nylon blend. It's a wool, not a merino, so it is a little bit coarser, but it is still, so it has a bit of a woolly feel to it and some texture to it, but it still ends up being really it feels soft, and it's not scratchy, so it's still pleasant to have up around your face, and it is pretty warm. So this is a really warm shawl. I actually put it on and wore it out to pick up my son from school, and it was really nice. So if this is what I will say about Stephen West, and I will show you more of his stuff because I have that in my whips. But for me, I tend towards the same colors and I tend towards the same things. And Stephen West really pushes me to knit beyond my comfort zone and challenges me to try new things. And I think that's what I loved so much about this knit, is you use so many different techniques, and for me personally, it definitely pushed me to explore my knitting and try some new things, and to kind of keep some of my knitting skills fresh. So, for example, if you want to try brioche, this is a great way to try it, because it's just this little section of brioche is all that it is, and so you're not being overwhelmed by this huge project of brioche. It's just this little tiny bit, and it's a pretty simple brioche, and it just incorporates some different techniques that can scare people, short rows, brioche, slipping stitches, things like that. And it just, I really, really highly recommend giving this a try. And it's really, it's worth it. It's a great knit, and the product that you get is beautiful and really well done. And so I'm just super pleased with how that turned out. And as I said, I think Stephen West, I think I'm going to try and knit at least one Stephen West pattern a year, because he does really push me to kind of move beyond what I would normally move, and kind of challenges me to grow as a knitter, and I think that that's a great thing. So I highly, highly recommend that you take a look at some of Stephen West patterns. They can look really eccentric, but you guys, you can take them and you can make them into whatever you want. And shameless Stephen West plug, forgive me. FO number 3, and I have 4 this week, or this month, it's been a while. And these are my February socks. As you know, I'm trying to knit a pair of socks every month to put in the Box of Socks Cal, hosted by Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast and Voulin Vine Yarn. And so these are my February socks. These are called the Hearts Abound socks, and they're a free Knit Picks pattern. Knit Picks did this series of a pair of sock pattern corresponding to every month, and I'll talk a little bit more about that whole thing after I talk about this pattern. Now, you can see there's these really cute hearts that are going on with it, and then on the top, I'll hand it, turn it a little bit, there's hearts going up the top. Super cute for a February sock. I knit this on Knit Picks Hawthorne Park Rose. I ended up with 2 skeins of this, you guys, and it's so not my color, and I am trying to get rid of it. So I think I've about gotten rid of it now. So I knit these on US 2, size 2 needles, 2.75 millimeter. They're a little bit bigger than the standard needle that I use, but they're 60 stitches around, so the bigger needle works out okay. I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel, so I altered the heel and the toe. It had kind of a funky toe, and I just kind of did a standard, like, magic, figure 8 cast on, kind of went up from there and did it that way. The toe that they had you doing was kind of different, but this is the toe that I like to use for toe up socks, so that's the toe that I went with. And then I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel, and the part that I want to talk about is the cuff. I hate it. I'm not gonna mince words. I hate the cuff. Now it has this like super cute like heart pattern that goes around at the cuff, which is really cute. And then it has a picot bind off. And I'd never done a picot bind off before, and so I thought, oh, what the heck? Why not? Maybe these will be really cute. But they're not really cute because they kind of roll like this and they're kind of bunchy, and I don't like it. That's not me. They are going into my box of socks, and they have gone in my drawer. I think these are only going to be like a one time of a year wear. I really wish that I'd done like a 1x1 twisted rib. I think I could have kept, this section here for the detail on the cuff, and then just done a twisted rib off of that and still maintain that effect. But I don't like the cuff. I don't like it, and I would not do it again. So that being said, my plan was originally, because as I've mentioned, I tend towards the same colors, and I want to branch out with the colors that I use, particularly when it comes to socks, because they're socks, and so what difference does it make? I don't know that I could do that on a garment, because it'd be something that I would be wearing, and I would not want a pink shirt. I could maybe do a red shirt, maybe, but not a pink shirt. Well, I could do a red shirt because I'm thinking about knitting a Christmas sweater. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So my plan was, they have this, this series of 12 patterns and then the corresponding yarns, and I've been enjoying the Hawthorne yarn and like the woolly feel of it. And so I thought, well, I'll knit those patterns and I'll use the corresponding yarn to go with it. But I'm not liking the patterns, you guys. And I went and I looked at some of the upcoming patterns and the techniques, and I don't really like them very much. There's so many other sock patterns out there that I just think are a lot better. especially because like Nina Phillip just released her New York collection, which I grabbed because I love her patterns, and that she's releasing one of those a month. And then Erica Luter, who did Hermione's Everyday Socks, she has like a whole series of Harry Potter socks. So I'm abandoning that plan. I may stick with using the yarn that they recommend. That I may stick with, at least for March. I'm going to use that yarn for my March socks, which I have not started yet. I have a different pair of socks going for March, which you will see, and yeah, I'll talk about that later too. So I'm abandoning that. Or the other thing I might do is I might just look and see what the yarn is that they use and try and like keep a similar color feel to it, because I do have some sock yarn in my stash that I want to use up, and there's a couple skeins of sock yarn that I want to use up, and I just was bad and Felici was on sale from Knit Picks and I bought a bunch of Felici, so I should probably use that too. So anyway, I think that's gonna be my plan, is I'm not going to use these patterns anymore. I think it was a great noble effort on my part, but it just wasn't really working out, I'm afraid. So rethinking the sock plan, but there are so many sock patterns, I'm not going to have a problem with finding great sock patterns to continue with. It was just that color scheme. But I'm going to work on it, and I'm going to try and use different colors. I'm going to try and have like a rainbow assortment of socks. So, but no pink. Wow. This is as pink as we'll go. How's that? So my last finished object that I'm going to show you this week was my February submission for Inside Number 23 KT's Harry Potter Cal, and that is the Hermione Hearts Ron hat. And again, this is Knit Picks Hawthorne, Park Rose. I think I finally am getting rid of this stupid colored yarn. This is so not... I have to laugh at myself because this is really not me, and it's shown up in like all of my finished objects so far. So this is the Hermione Hearts Ron hat, and the pattern is based off of a hat that Hermione wears in the movie The Half-Blood Prince, and it is super cute, you guys. And it looks, I was so surprised at how stretchy this hat is. Like, I don't look good in hats, but this hat is super stretchy and it fits really nicely on your head. I wish it wasn't pink because I would knit one and wear it myself. It's just a really cute hat. I'll take it back off as it messes up all my hair. So, like I said, Knit Picks Hawthorne, Park Rose. The designer of this pattern I did not write down. I will put it on the screen. I used US size 3 needles. I can't remember if I used what the pattern called for or if I went up a size. I don't remember, you guys. I think I used 3s or 5s. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'm editing that part out. Anyway, so this is the Hermione Hearts Ron hat. It was a super quick knit. It's got this beautiful cable pattern. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. If you're looking for a cute hat to knit up, this is fingering weight yarn. I think the pattern calls for sport weight, but it works for fingering weight as well, and it turned out pretty well. It's maybe a little tiny bit, it could maybe be a little bit longer because my earlobes are like right here. But yeah, it's really cute. I like it. I like the way that it decreases on the top. Whoa! Scary hair. I like the way it decreases on the top and kind of makes like this little star. Let me see if I can get that to focus a little bit better. Yeah. So, super quick knit. If you want to enter the Harry Potter Cal, you can whip one of these up really fast. So, you should do that. So, that is it for my finished objects. I like said finished 4. Really happy about that. I am 3 socks in my box of socks for 2017, which is pretty good since we, are in March. I'm on track. Yay! So let me move on now to my works in progress. Works in progress. I have 3. Sorry. sorry. And I'm kind of feeling overwhelmed a little bit with my works in progress because I have some things that I want to knit for some other people, but I want to knit for myself too, and I have cals that I want to enter in, and so I'm just kind of feeling a little bit, I don't want to say stressed, but like rushed with some of my knitting, and I don't really like that so much. So I'm going to start off with what may be my favorite right now. So Stephen West is doing his mystery knit along, and it is called the Marled Magic MCal. And the second clue came out on Friday, and I just have the first clue done because I was trying to work on some other things, so I haven't started the second clue yet. So if you don't want any spoilers at all, if you're doing this, you haven't started anything, or you're only partway through clue 1, you might want to look away and come back because I don't want to ruin anything for you. So this is part 1 of the Marled Magic shawl, my version. And can I just say, I mentioned it before, how much Stephen West makes me knit outside my comfort zone, but can I just say how much I love this? This is so, again, it's so pushed me to do things that I would not normally do, and I am loving it. I'm loving the process of it. I love the product of it. I cannot wait to see how this is going to turn out. And, you know, this part was section 1. And it's all marled, and that means that you hold 2 strands of yarn together, and this is fingering weight yarn. And I'm not going to talk about all the different yarns in here because there's like a ton of them. And it is a great stash buster project because you use up little bits. And I kid you not, so for example, on this part here, this is going to be kind of awkward to show. I used some leftover Felici that was self-striping to get this, and you use just minuscule amounts of yarn. So if you have like, you know, 5 grams left from a sock or something like that, you can incorporate this in, and it's just gives this really cool effect. So there's different ways of marling. These are 2 different types, this versus this, but it's all accomplished by holding 2 strands of fingering weight yarn together and kind of working it out from there. In this first section, he had us do this crazy thing where we don't weave in our, because I like to weave in my ends as I go, but you don't weave them in, so you just leave this like thing hanging down, and I'm not sure what we're going to do with it, but it's really cool. I just tied a knot in it to keep them from getting all like tangled up. And again, since it's a paid for pattern and an MCal, I don't want to give away a lot with the pattern, but I just wanted to show it to you guys because I am having so much fun knitting it. I will say this section here, I got kind of tired of seed stitch on it after a while, so that did get a little bit old, but it's this great thing with the shawl. Like, you know how when you're knitting shawls, they start off flying because you don't have very many stitches, but then you get further on and each row takes forever? Well, because this is being knit in sections, you don't have that happening. You're only knitting like a fraction of the portion at a time, or at least so far. I don't know what it's going to be as we continue on through the next few sections, but I really like that. It makes it feel like it goes a lot faster as a shawl. And I'm excited to see how it's going to go. I suspect it's going to be huge because this is only the first 2 sections and it's already that big. So that is Stephen West, the Marled Magic Mystery Knit Along. You can still join it and get caught up in it. It runs through March. There's, I think, 4 clues. Every Friday in March they release a clue. So I need to get cracking on clue 2 so that I can get caught up and ready when clue 3 comes out. I was pretty proud of myself for having clue 1 done before clue 2 came out. So go me. Yay! So that's my first work in progress, and as I said, my most exciting. Work in progress number 2 is living in my cute little fox drawstring project bag from, I think it's called Chicken Soup Knits. And this is just going to be a very basic baby hat that I'm knitting for a friend of my mom's. She asked me to knit something for her. And this is using Knit Picks Felici. Let me look what the colorway is. The colorway is Saltwater Taffy, and I think it's super cute. It's a little girl, and I think it's really cute for a little girl, but without being like over the top pink. And it's Felici, so it's super, super soft. This is the skein. Oh, upside down. And this was part of my little binge that I went on when Felici was on sale recently, and I got like one of every colorway that was left. But it was only like $3 for one of these guys. $3! So I'm knitting one of these hats, and then I'm gonna knit little baby booties to go with it. And when I finish those, I'll probably take a little video to insert into next week once those are done, and probably once this is done, because I don't know that I'll still have these next week. So I'm trying to get this done really quick. So it's just a plain basic baby hat. I'm knitting it on Addie's size, US size 3, which is what, a 3mm needle? 3.25mm needle. And I'm knitting this for like a 4 to 12 month because I wanted, I wasn't sure how big the baby was. So it's 88 stitches around, and then just a 2x2 rib, and then stockinette to the decreases. So nothing special about that hat, no particular pattern. So that's my little baby hat that I'm working on. And hopefully I can get that done today and can get started on the socks, because my mom's kind of bugging me about them because she doesn't know when she's going to see her friend. So I got to get cracking on that. And see, it's stuff like this that's keeping me from knitting on my own things. And I'm trying to be a lot better about knitting on my own things, but I'm not doing a very good job of it. So yeah, so that's my second work in progress. So the last work in progress that I'm going to talk about, this really isn't anything too spectacular. This is living in my Estee Lauder makeup bag that a friend of mine picked up from a thrift store, which works out great for knitting socks 2 at a time, because 2 little balls of yarn sit right down on the bottom. And these are just a pair of vanilla socks that these are my kind of take with me to knit everywhere, because I wanted, at the time I didn't have any mindless knit patterns. And for the first time, I am doing contrasting heels and toes and maybe cuffs. It's going to depend on how much of this yarn is left. So I'm using up some of the yarn that I had in the exploration station. And so this is that Blackbird yarn, and then this is the Cosmic Speckle, which I think are going to look really cute. So again, these just kind of come with me as my mindless knit. They're vanilla socks. I'm knitting these on my Addie sock rockets, and they're US 1.5, 2.5 millimeters, which is my kind of standard go-to needle. And it's a 64 stitches, which is my standard size. I'm not sure what heel I'm gonna do for these yet. I don't know if, I probably will do a Fish Lips Kiss heel because I'm doing them toe up, and I've decided that I like a heel flap cuff down a lot better than I like it toe up, if that makes any sense. And then this will also give me an idea of, with a sock recipe that I know fits my foot really well, how well that heel is going to fit my foot. Because the other socks that I've done for myself that were Fish Lips Kiss were a little bit on the big side, not super big, but they weren't super snug on my foot like I would like it to be. So I'm not exactly sure how well that heel is going to fit. So this is kind of my lesson in figuring that out. So these are not getting knit on frequently. They just are my mindless knit that's going to come with me when I need a mindless knit. They may end up being my March socks. I don't know. I hope not, because I really would like to knit something else for my March socks. So I show those now, and I probably won't show those again until they're further along, because I don't know how much further they will get. So that is it for my works in progress. I had originally wanted to show you my cozy memory blanket and the temperature blanket, and I went down the rabbit hole and started a granny stripe. But because I have a lot that I want to share, and I am kind of running out of time, I'm going to have to go pick up kids from school really soon. I think I'm going to hold that off and show that next time so that I can talk about my acquisitions and get this kind of wrapped up. Alright, so that would be it for my works in progress. So on to acquisitions. And I have far more acquisitions than I meant to have, I guess you could say. Well, okay, only one of the things, or one section I bought. The others were some prizes and things like that. So I'll start with the prizes and the swap that I did. So I took part in a mini swap. Sorry, I ran down to start my car to get ready for go pick up kids because it's snowing and now I'm all out of breath. So the first is a bunch of minis from a mini swap. These are 5-gram minis. So these are going to go in my cozy memory blanket, and I haven't used any of them yet, and I am super excited to do so. And they're from an independent dyer that's actually based out of Michigan, and that's kind of why I decided to roll with this. And it is it's called Mint Rain. So there's her information, and these are self-striping, so they're super cute. There's all kinds of different colorways on there. There's some Harry Potter themed ones. There's just all kinds, and I'm not sure what ones go with what, but they're really cute, and I'm really excited to work them into my sock yarn blanket because they are definitely lots of different colors, and it kind of adds some variety and color to that. So I'm very much looking forward to getting those worked into my blanket. So that was my first kind of fun thing. I'd forgotten about this swap, and so when it showed up in the mail, I was like, oh yeah, yay, minis! So I'm super excited about these. The other one, and this was super exciting, and I wanted to show this to you guys like a month ago, and that was, so in January I participated in the Cold Shoulder Cal hosted by Sue and Chelsea of Legacy Knits and Jamie of A Beautiful Mess Yarnworks, and she has the I'll Knit If I Want To podcast, and I won a prize. I couldn't believe that. This is like a huge cal. I won from Jamie, and you guys, I was over the moon with this prize package. I can't, it's craziness. So I'm gonna crinkle. Sorry about the crinkling. So the first thing is this super cute little notions pouch that sheet. I've been waiting and waiting to show you guys, so I have not used this, and I want to. And so it's this super cute notions pouch. I can't wait to transfer everything over. It's got this super cute little sheepy zipper pull, and this is from Steel City Stitcher, and this is her card. So she's based out of Pittsburgh, and I also have a little button that came with it, and I think it's a little progress keeper, or nope, it's like a super cute little stitch marker. It's got a little heart on it. Focus, little gem. So yeah, super cute, super excited. Now I can move all my Notion stuff over into my little sheepy guy. Look at those, the little sheep. How cute is that? So then the other amazing thing that I got is this little like frozen coffee. I'm kind of holding it weird so that the glare doesn't hit it. From the Gnome Knitter, and I'm not sure like what kind of drink it's supposed to be. I'm gonna call it a peppermint chocolate shake because I like those, and I don't really like pumpkin stuff, so it's gonna be my peppermint chocolate shake. How's that? But yeah, super cute. Also excited to try this out. Like I said, the Gnome Knitter, she makes really cute progress keepers. So very excited about that. And then quite possibly the most amazing part was 2 skeins of Jamie's yarn. Oh my gosh, could these be any more me? I mean, these are so beautiful. This is DK weight, 100% superwash merino. The color is Grassy Knees. How awesome is that? Having a little boy who always has like dirty knees, this is just perfect. I've got to figure out what I want to do with this. I have an idea. There was a brioche shawl that Lara of the Fawn Knits did that used DK weight and fingering weight, and it's beautiful. And I think that I could use this and pair it with like a green or a blue solidish or tonal to complement it, and I think it would just be great. But how beautiful, you guys. I about died when I watched her podcast and saw that I won. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. And they were packaged, it was all packaged so beautifully in these cute little bags as well. So I've got some really cute little gift bags going too. So that was my prize for the cold shoulder cowl. How awesome is that? I was so excited, and I was just over the moon when I got it, and I opened it up, and it was so beautiful, and it was so exciting, and I was so happy. So that was my first couple of big acquisitions. The others are things that, well, one is something I dyed, and then the other is stuff that I purchased. I don't know, this isn't really an acquisition because this is something that I dyed, but I'm throwing it in with the acquisitions just because I'm in a time crunch here. And this was my first time dyeing a full skein of yarn and not a mini skein, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. Ready? This is my yarn that I dyed. So I dyed this with a friend in mind, and she loves Hello Kitty, and I wanted to knit her a pair of socks for her birthday. She is definitely knit worthy. She's a knitter herself, and I knew she would appreciate hand-dyed yarn by me. And it didn't turn out exactly the way that I wanted it. The black speckling kind of took over a little bit more, but it created this effect that I just really love. And considering that I was trying to dye pinks with only red dye, it was definitely challenging. But I've got some like light pink here that kind of transitions into some darker pink. There's these black section, there's black speckles. The black down here almost turns it kind of a purpley. There's lots of layers to it. There's some more red inside, and I am so excited to see how this is gonna knit up. I cannot wait to get her socks cast on because I am just dying. I am dying to see how my dyeing knits. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm hoping, I really, really want to this year. It's gonna be one of my goals for 2017 is to get my own Etsy shop and my own yarn going. And I don't know that this would be a colorway that I would include normally because it is kind of something special for her, but I would be really curious to know what you guys think of this and just give me your feedback. I know it's hard to tell on the screen and not seeing it in color, but I'm pleased with how it turned out, and it is so much fun. Like, here is like a really saturated dark black part. There's just so much, I mean, it's just so different all over. I really cannot wait to see how this is gonna turn out. So I would love to hear your feedback and what you think about it. So yeah, give me that in the comments or send me a message. I'm curious to know what you would think. So that was my dyeing, and I was really excited about that. Sorry about the noise and some crinkling here. So as I mentioned, I went kind of Felici crazy, and I got like one of every kind of Felici because I do really like it. I think it's fantastic for gift knits especially because it is really inexpensive yarn. It's super soft, it's super wash merino, it's easy to care for. You can run into some issues with bleeding and the colors not necessarily being true, but again, it's fun. It's fun, and you know, you do get what you paid for, and it's not a bad yarn. So I do like it. Okay, so you guys, it's probably a good thing that I was not able to order it right when the sale was announced. There was a bunch of colorways that were sold out. So let's see. So I got Limeade, which is really bright. It's bright blues and yellows and greens. And I got, because I was getting some because I wanted to knit this baby thing. And then this that's called Soft Serve. Oh, I think I'm going to have to hold it back because the lighting. I'm sorry about the lighting. And this is just kind of like pinks and blues, and it's really more pastel-y. And then I got this that's called Slumber Party, which is like purples and some light blue. This is very similar to the Fanciful colorway that I knit a pair of socks for Abby out of. And then I got Pinata, which is lots of really fun, bright colors. And then this one is one of my favorites. This is Toucan, which is, surprise, surprise, right? That this is like right up my field. And then I had got just a few solid colors for contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes. This is very Eastery, isn't it? So I have Dandelion, Dogwood Heather, and Wonderland Heather that I think really they kind of, any of these will go great with contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes. The beauty of my tiny feet is that I can get definitely get a pair of anklets out of 50 grams of yarn, but if I throw in contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes, or at least heels and toes, I can easily get like a normal size sock out of 50 grams of yarn. So that ended up being great because I did not spend a lot of money on all that yarn, and I'll be able to get a lot of pairs of socks out of them. The very last acquisition I have was with the Amazon gift card, and lots of people have been talking about these needles, and I wanted to give them a try, and I felt like I needed another pair of circular needles for doing socks 2 at a time, because I only have one US 1.5 2.5 millimeter needles and that are circular, and I have double points, but if I wanted to do 2 pairs of 2 at a time. And so I got my first pair of Hiya Sharps, you guys. I haven't used them yet, so I plan on using those with my friend's socks that I'm going to cast on, and I will report back to you on how I like the Hiya Sharps. As of right now, I use Addy Turbo Sock Rockets, and I like those. I do like those a lot. And these are supposed to be sharper, and I'm not sure if I'm going to like that or not, so we will find out. So stay tuned, and I will report back to you on that. So those are my acquisitions. I did want to talk about life stuff, but I am so sorry, you guys. I'm completely out of time. I have got to go get kids from school. So I'm going to call it right here for part 2. Thank you for sticking around and watching. If you like what you saw, please hit subscribe, hit like. That helps get my podcast out there. And if I can get my podcast out there, we can do more knit-alongs and fun things like that. So thank you everyone for coming back. For all my first-time viewers, thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a great week. If you're getting hit with snow, by all means, please be careful. Drive safe, pay attention, stay warm, all of those things. And hopefully I will see you guys next week. As far as I know, you will. In the meantime, happy knitting. Bye, guys.